salutatorian, which means she is second in our class academically. And now we have the pleasure of hearing from our valedictorian, who earned the spot of first academically in the class. And so he's probably feeling familiar up here at the podium. I'd like to ask Jordan Markov to come forward to deliver his valedictorian address. Jordan.
I'll be short. I want to thank all my producers, the singer. Oh wait, no, that's the Grammys. Anyway, we have gathered here today not only to listen to my boring speech that is written all over with thank yous, but also to celebrate a moment in life that happens once in a lifetime, and a moment that all of us seniors today have been waiting for, ever, since we woke up early in that morning on our first day of school. So, I'm sorry in advance for ruining it. When I first stepped into pilot school, I knew 2 sentences in English, which I couldn't even write down. They were, I don't speak English, and my name is Danny. That was 12 years ago. 12 years are 2/3 of my life. And throughout these 12 years, not only did I learn to calculate, using a calculator, the product of 2/3 and 18, but I also realized, admittedly towards the end, that I should be grateful. And I am grateful. I'm grateful to all my elementary teachers, from Mrs. Kalamukas in 1st grade, Mrs. Fiana, who taught 3rd grade then, and finally Mr. Coyce, who threw chalk when he was angry, and taught us some interesting Italian phrases in 5th grade. When he was angry, of course, which was basically all the time. Then came middle school. My class was also considered a part of the high school, like this year's 6th. However, this was true only for the year that I was in 6th grade, which I believe is indicative of something, that I'm modest. Middle school was certainly one of the hardest periods of all of our lives, because that's when things actually started becoming serious. We ended up, or at least I ended up, seeing it as some kind of a battle for survival. On one corner, throughout all these years, were Theodora, I'm so pretty, I know everything. I'm kidding, Theo. Along with me, Jordan, don't want to be called Danny anymore. We were up against Mrs. Linda, your worst nightmare. She was our math teacher and social studies teacher. Not fun. And her class used to be at the end of the hallway of doom. Okay, that's not true. We didn't call it that only because we were too afraid to do so. Later, we were joined once more by Cristiano. I was in Switzerland, by Janine. Then came Selena. Sciathus is so much better than Scopulus, if you ask. And Marta, I don't have a middle name, but I've got 50 names after my first one. However, we still didn't stand a chance against, well, you know who. Until Andreas, the next Dr. House, has Antonio, along with Philip, the Kunchi, and Michael, because I got high. Now they stood no chance. Today is evidence of that. I want to thank all of you guys for those crazy memories. However, despite all this, I'm grateful for what high school has taught me. Mr. Terzidis, somebody taught me that life is not fair and you can't always get what you want. But if you try sometimes, you might find you get what you need. I know that. teach me TOK, but that didn't work out too much. Ms. Tufa, whose last year's IB Math standard level class began with 5 students and ended up with just Martha and I. Taught me how never to give in and up. Mrs. Yanulis simply taught me the step-by-step way of becoming a ruthless dictator. And also why I can blame my parents for the numerous psychological disorders. Mrs. Squires showed me how IB subjects can actually be taught in a nice and a kind way. Something I thought to be inconceivable. Dr. Jim Platt, our dear director, had to tolerate me in her English class, trying to teach me how a poem about fishing actually meant something more than just fishing. But that was to no avail either. I must mention that Prof. Ross's attempt to teach me Spanish and Ms. Zima's attempt to teach me Greek had the similar fate. Finally, Coach, one of the few teachers today who has been in Pinewood throughout the duration of my stay, taught me that the riff at the beginning of Deep Purple's Child in Time was actually taken from It's a Beautiful Day, Bombay Calling. He was among the one, along with Dr. Jim Pablo and Mr. K, that let Marco and I host a radio show, which you should listen to at 100.6 FM. Everyone's is at 4. Make sure you don't miss it. Now I could go all about the other teachers, but that wouldn't be short, would it? There is, however, one special person that I certainly mustn't forget to thank. That person is in this auditorium. Some of you parents and teachers might still remember her, others have probably not even met her. She used to be the high school music teacher quite a while ago. However, for the past decade, she has been my piano teacher, and the piano teacher of many students in the school, including Theo. A Journey Complete, the song you heard just now, is evidence of what Mr. Leander has taught me. Because all I know about writing and creating music, I've learned from her. Of course, I must thank my father not only for driving me all the way to Playadi, the town where I took my piano lessons once a week, but sometimes even twice a week.
Can't believe it.
But also for just being there. The same applies for my mother and my sister. I even got to thank Lou, her boyfriend, my sister's boyfriend, not my mother. For, well, you know. Anyhow, I just wanted to thank Mr. Lander for developing my talent. Well, let's admit it. Yeah, there's a decent number of talent. And also for giving me the opportunity to find the goals I believe I was destined to. Thank you, all of you.
Jordan, I see that humility speech I gave at the beginning really sunk in. For those of you who know Jordan, this is an expected speech. And I'm going to admit something that I cannot believe that I did with Jordan, and that was he would not let me see his valedictorian speech. And this was the first time I was hearing it also. And I was very, very worried over here when he came up. But I think he did an okay job. He promised he wouldn't embarrass me. And now, I have the honor of giving Jordan his valedictorian plaque for the class of 2012. Jordan, you're an extraordinary student, and you're going to have an extraordinary life. And now, we have a very special guest with us tonight, Dr. Panayotis Vlachos. Dr. Vlachos has agreed to come and speak to our senior class and to you